Son of David, have mercy on me. What do you want me to do for you? Please be seated. Well, hey, y'all. It's good to be here. I'm having so much fun. I feel like I'm wearing like 7 of my 9 hats this morning. I'm here, I'm on the bishop's staff as the diocesan missioner for youth and young adult ministries, and in that function I come to this building a fair amount to work and have spent a fair amount of time in this room. Yesterday I was representing us all, the Cathedral Church of St. Paul, at the confirmation out in Framingham yesterday with our bishop diocesan, and so that's a second hat. As a part of my job, I say I'm with the band. I'm a roadie for the Diocesan Youth Council, who are here today. We're going to be meeting for about 4 hours this afternoon, and so they've joined us, they and their mentors, so I've got that hat. And, you know, I serve here, and some of you may recognize me from hanging around here for a couple of months, about a year or so ago, with the Monday lunch program. And on and on. I was ordained in this room and I served at the church. Anyway, it's great to be here. And it's great to see y'all. I know, I'm back to you, but at least I can see you wave. This is my first time doing the sort of hybrid, so it's kind of fun and a little awesome and a little bit intimidating to think I actually am now in two places at once. So, with all of that going on in my head, I do want to turn to the text because there's so much going on in this piece, this story that we have today. And even the context of this encounter, where this event happens in the narrative, in the story of Mark, is provocative in and of itself. See, this is near the end of a journey that started at Mount Hermon, north of Galilee, where the Transfiguration happened. And from there, Jesus and his folk were in the region of Galilee, then to Capernaum, kind of hometown kind of thing, and then south down along the Jordan River to Jericho. And where we pick him up is they are leaving Jericho on their way to Jerusalem for the last time. According to at least one source, Jericho to Jerusalem is about an 8-hour walk. So this is probably the day before Palm Sunday. So Jesus has some things on his mind, I'm imagining. And as we travel this road this morning, I've got some things on my mind, and I'd like to share with you how this provocative little story reminds me, 1, of the young people I serve with, 2, with the church that I serve, 3, with the encampment in our city known as Mass and Cass, and finally my prayer for us all, each of us and all of us. So number 1, the young people I serve. Bartimaeus reminds me of the young people in our church and reminds me why it's important for me to do the work I do. See, like Bartimaeus, our young people are restless and they are impatient and they are looking for a genuine encounter with Christ and for the church to be the church for real. They want the real deal and not just some feel-good platitudes. And I think our church needs their restless energy. Our church today desperately needs their impatience and restlessness and indignation, frankly. So bring it on. I want our young people to shake us up. At the confirmation yesterday, I said over and over, welcome to the revolution, to all the confirmands. I scared some of the priests, but that's what we deacons do. But I want them to make us feel uncomfortable. I think if we're going to survive, we need to be shaken up. We need to be changed. Like Bartimaeus, our young people remind the rest of us followers of Jesus that the point of the mission is to tend to those on the outside of the circle, on the margins. Something you all know very well and model for the rest of the diocese. But I want our young people to join you all in challenging our assumptions about who we are, about who's in and who's out, about the claims we make about our mission and our priorities. Bartimaeus' sense of urgency reminds me of our young people and their impatience and the gift that impatience is to the church. Bartimaeus also reminds me, though, of my deepest yearning for young people as well. See, I want them to bring all of their impatience and their restlessness and their indignation to their own call out, a call out to Jesus. I want them to cry out to God in search of wholeness for themselves. Like Bartimaeus, I pray that they and all of us yearn to encounter Christ in a deep and direct way. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy. And then there's the crowd. What does their example tell us about ourselves? See, Bartimaeus had obviously heard the buzz about this itinerant healer teacher wandering around from up north. So why do you think Jesus' followers were so stern with poor, blind Bartimaeus? Why did they try to keep him quiet? Why did they try so hard to keep him away from Jesus? What would inspire someone inside the circle of Jesus' followers to try to keep someone else outside? Was it stinginess? Did they want to keep Jesus all to themselves? Were they afraid that Bartimaeus would somehow push them out of the circle? Or did they just want to keep the messy beggar away? Were they afraid of what others might think if their group had added Bartimaeus? You know, as I was thinking about this, I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt and think, well, maybe like good church folks, maybe their action was out of reverence for Jesus, wanting to keep things tidy, calm, and serene. But I have a hard time imagining that, frankly. It's hard for me to imagine that it was ever serene when Jesus passed through town. I mean, we have tale after tale of crowds gathering around him, and crowds of the most unsavory type. Harlots, hemorrhaging women, and cripples, and tax collectors, and children. Oh. Well, whatever their reason for keeping him away, Bartimaeus was having none of it. And as always, Jesus was ready to engage the outsider. What do you want me to do for you? He asks. Which brings me to how this story points to the myth that we live in here in our progressive and compassionate city on a hill. Have you been to Southampton Street lately? I'm guessing some of you have. Have you been to the area just south of the intersection of Melnia Cass and Mass Ave, the area referred to as Mass and Cass, although it is neither Mass nor Cass, but that's another story. I have to tell you, I am truly sickened when I hear either of our mayoral candidates or our acting mayor or any of our city officials, all of whom have been in power for a long time, refer to this sudden emergency in our midst. And even worse, I Googled and searched and searched and Googled, and I could not find one reference to any church leader addressing this shameful and sinful neglect publicly. You know what I would love to see? I would love to see just one of them. One civic leader, one candidate, one religious leader, in all of their officialdom, commit to going down to the 100 block of Southampton Street. Commit to going down every day for 2 weeks. That's all. Go down every day for 2 weeks and talk to people. Not talk to the business leaders, not talk to the developers, not talk to the police, but following the example of Jesus, talk to the people on the street. Maybe even just 5 people a day. That's doable. Talk to 5 people a day for each of 14 days. Go and listen to their stories. Find out who they are. Find out how they got there and what keeps them there. And like Jesus, ask the simple question. What do you want me to do for you? Jesus, Son of David, have mercy. Finally, what ultimately draws me so powerfully to this story of Bartimaeus' encounter with Jesus is that it reminds me that the source of the power and the healing is Jesus. Bartimaeus reminds all of us that the source of the power and healing is Jesus. No offense to present company, but don't let the foolishness of the people around him stop you from seeking Jesus. See, just as I want the young people I work with to realize that the source of wholeness is Jesus and not the people gathered around him, I need to remember myself that the church is not the means of salvation. And although I love and committed to the church, obviously, the source of my salvation is Jesus. My involvement and investment in the church keeps me close to Jesus, but in order for deep healing, I need to continue to seek out that personal encounter. Perhaps Bartimaeus is reminding all of us this morning, young and old and in between, to seek Christ's healing for ourselves and for our world with passion and impatience. So I'll close with this, asking you this morning, my siblings, what do you want Jesus to do for you this morning? And what do we as a people want Jesus to do for us all? Do we want it badly enough to beg for it? To scream for it? To insist on it? Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on us